Hello, it's Paul Kegabine from the Garland County Library, and I am here with a very special guest, Cassidy Kendall, who is the author of the upcoming 100 Things to Do in Hot Springs Before You Die, and she is here to tell us all about it. Those 100 things and all of her behind-the-scenes effort that has gone into making this exciting new book. So welcome, Cassidy.
Hi, my name is Cassidy Kendall. I am a local journalist here in Hot Springs. I publish the Hot Springs Post and have just written 100 Things to Do in Hot Springs Before You Die, which is what I'm here to tell you about today. And I'm super excited. So let's get into it. So, 100 Things to Do in Hot Springs Before You Die. I dedicated this book to my grandparents who introduced me to Hot Springs, to my sisters who I live in Hot Springs with now, and to all of you guys, the community. I would like to take a second to just briefly read the preface of my book. It goes into my relationship with Hot Springs and why I decided to write about 100 things to do in Hot Springs. Like many, I was first introduced to Hot Springs as a vacation destination. During my childhood in southern Arkansas, my sweet grandparents would regularly whisk me and my two sisters away to enjoy a week of lake life during the summers. The excitement we felt seeing the sparkle of Lake Hamilton as we crossed the bridge coming in on 70 West after having traveled nearly 2 hours is just as vivid today as it was many years ago. We knew what these weeks brought, mist on our faces as we cruised the lake in our family's party barge, the joy found in a friendly game of putt-putt at Pirates Cove, a beautiful drive up Hot Springs Mountain and into the mountain tower to see the breathtaking views, and a stroll through downtown to window shop and simply enjoy the days spent in the small city. After childhood, I thought my magical summers in Hot Springs were over as I grew older and went out into the world. But as fate would have it, I was brought back here on a more permanent basis after I graduated college. I had the rare opportunity to be reintroduced to the most magical place I'd ever been to. And while I still got to enjoy all the things I had before, like the lake, nature, and yes, even still games of putt-putt at Pirates Cove, I found there was a whole other world of beauty and magic to be experienced in Hot Springs year-round. As a local newspaper journalist, I quickly got acquainted with the community after moving here. I learned it's the locals that keep the town that magical destination I'd remembered from so many years before. I discovered a laugh brought by the community theater at a pocket show, a profound thought incited by Wednesday night poetry, the beauty of a downtown gallery walk, the quirkiness of a world's shortest St. Patrick's Day parade, and the glamour of a documentary film festival having run longer than any other in North America. I also found a library that would go above and beyond to accommodate its community, more hiking trails and swimming holes than I could ever imagine, and a historic bathhouse row that still has some bathhouses for bathing, but also one that brews beer with the local magical thermal water, and another run by the city's mayor offering a grand hotel and one of the best brunches you'll ever have. I could go on, but the point is, I got lucky enough to meet Hot Springs twice in my lifetime. And now I would like nothing more than to share the country's best kept secret with the readers of this book. Hot Springs is known as the spa city for the millennia-old thermal waters deriving from the mountain that drew in people from all over the world for medicinal bathing and soaking. Tasting and bathing in these waters today are obvious must-dos, but when finding yourself in Hot Springs, are must-dos when finding yourself in Hot Springs, but whether you're visiting or living here, count yourself lucky and enjoy it for all it is worth. In this book, you will read 100 things I have deemed important enough to do while in Hot Springs before you die. I've lived in Hot Springs for 3 years, but have frequented it my entire life. So I hope to appeal to both the visitor and local in these pages, which will introduce you to some of the best foods, businesses, places, events, and historical tidbits in the area, as well as insider tips that will help you make the most of your time spent in one of the best places on earth. So, how did this book come to be? Reedy Press is a St. Louis-based publishing company that travels to destination towns and finds a local writer to author these books for them. In June of 2021, I had just resigned from the newspaper. I was working at the newspaper, and I was setting out to start full-time freelance. I wasn't sure what that would look like for me, but about a week into it, a friend with Visit Hot Springs had suggested to me to Reedy Press when they approached them about who may make a good fit for this book's authorship. I spoke with Reedy, and it seemed like such a natural fit with just really great timing. This was in the baby stages of the Hot Springs Post. So we spoke of using that platform as a way to kind of cross promote, and they loved that idea. So I got to work. Reedy required 5 sections to be in the book: food and drink, music and entertainment, sports and recreation, culture and history, and shopping and fashion. I put a call out through the post for community input so they could let me know what they think definitely needed to make the list of 100. Obviously, I knew that there were certain staples, certain things that act as sometimes the face of Hot Springs, the big ones like Bathhouse Row, Mid-America Science Museum, the Mountain Tower, Oaklawn Racing Casino Resort, Garvin Woodland Gardens. All of these things that make Hot Springs so great. I knew those were going to make the list, but while I wanted this book to be valuable to tourists, I wanted it to be just as valuable, if not more so, to the local community. Even for people who have lived here all their lives, I wanted them to be able to pick up this book and either find something new that their home has to offer or rediscover something that their home has to offer. Maybe something that they've just forgotten was here or just haven't made time to do in a long while. So I picked some things that I deem to be considered hidden gems from each category that I want to share with you guys. So for the food and drink section, I want to tell you about item 21 on the list, which is the wineries of Hot Springs. Many of you may be familiar with the exterior of these wineries. As you're going down Central, one is located, it's the Hot Springs Winery, is located on the right side going into downtown. And then on the left side of Central, adjacent to the Arlington, you will see Bathhouse Row Winery. Like many things we tend to pass on our daily drives, some of you may not be familiar of the ins and outs of these two wineries. A few things that caught my attention while touring these wineries were you can go on any given day for a wine tasting of everything they have to offer completely for free. All wines are made right here in Arkansas, Altus, Arkansas to be exact. The wines are named after things in Hot Springs. This is probably my favorite part of the winery. All the labels pay homage to something in Hot Springs, whether it's a historical fact or just something around Hot Springs, the label is going to mimic it. And that's a really neat thing. Whenever you're sharing a bottle of wine with someone, you're also sharing a piece of Hot Springs with them. And the final thing is you can go in even on Sundays and buy these bottles of wine. Arkansas has the law where you can't purchase alcohol on Sundays, but there are some loopholes, and this is one of them. You can go in and buy a bottle of wine 7 days a week. These wines are all very inexpensive, about under $20. And the tasting prior to purchasing ensures you're going to walk away with something you love. It's such a neat place that I'd only casually passed by probably 500,000 times without ever going in it. So I think that's often sometimes the case. If you're shopping at Kroger, doing your weekly grocery shopping, and you're like, oh, let me pick up my regular bottle of Yellowtail Merlot. This is a way to kind of branch out, support your local business, and try something new, and definitely discover a new great wine while doing it. For the Music and entertainment section, I want to shed a little bit of light on the Galaxy Connection. Now, for those of you who may not know, the Galaxy Connection is the building on Washita with the giant Star Wars mural. Personally, I'm not a Star Wars fan. I'm not a critic. I've just never seen it. Therefore, I would have never in a million years thought that this museum had anything to offer me. And if you're in the same boat as I am, then let me tell you a little bit about what I found when looking into what all the Galaxy Connection has to offer. In this museum, you will find a living room set that takes you back to the 80s. It's full of 80s toys, games, memorabilia, music. Now, I was not alive in the 80s, so being able to experience this glimpse back in time was such a rare experience, and I loved it so much. And for those of you who were alive in the 80s, it would just be pure nostalgia heaven. Stepping in this room is like stepping in a time machine. It is the neatest thing you'll ever see. Another really cool thing that the Galaxy Connection has is a gaming room. This is probably my favorite part about the entire museum, which is saying a lot because I really loved that 80s room. This game room is available to anyone who wants to pay a fee to go in, or if you have a museum tour booked, you can go there a little bit early and spend some time in the game room, where you will find video and board games from the 80s forward. So you can sit in there and play games like on Atari, Sega, Nintendo 64. They have so many things that you forgot existed. They will pull things out of the depths of your mind. One thing for me was Mr. Mouth, which was a board game with like a little frog, and you were trying to shoot flies into the frog's mouth. I forgot all about Mr. Mouth, and it just pulled that memory out of me, which the Galaxy Connection is good at doing. Another thing that you will see as you tour the museum, aside from all the Star Wars things, you will also find Marvel and DC full body cosplay suits on display. Now that's really cool. It looks like a something out of a movie memorabilia museum in LA. It's very cool. The Galaxy Connection is definitely a dream for Star Wars fans, but also just a really unique experience for anyone who may want to see what life was like for an 80s kid. For the sports and recreation, I chose Machine Gun Grotto. Machine Gun Grotto is the shooting range underneath Mountain Valley Armory, which is located across from Squeezebox Pizza on Washita. Mountain Valley Armory has been there for about 7 or 8 years, I believe. And Machine Gun Grotto is about a year or two old at this point. Now, me personally, I would not consider myself a gun person. I don't own guns and I haven't shot a gun in many years. So as someone who doesn't consider themselves a gun person, I would think that this place had nothing to offer me. But the recreation aspect is very cool. As a self-proclaimed not a gun person, this would be something that I would do on a Friday night. You can go into Machine Gun Grotto, rent a machine gun, the same machine guns used by the gangsters, so it pays homage to that very celebrated historical tidbit, and practice shooting a machine gun. Their motto is safety first, be safe, have fun, and learn if you want to. So it's a safe setting. They have range safety officers in there for you to do something that, you likely have never done. Likely most of you have never shot a machine gun. So it's just a really cool, exciting, new, interesting recreation that you can incorporate into your life, and it's available right here in Hot Springs. I know a ton of people who don't know about it, and it's one of the only places in Arkansas, if not the only place in Arkansas, where you can do something like this. So it's very, very interesting. For the culture and history section, I want to talk about exploring the ruins of the abandoned CHEWAUKLA bottling factory. Now, these ruins are found off of Sleepy Valley Road, under some trees. Still there, still very beautiful. The CHEWAUKLA bottling factory is an abandoned factory. I couldn't really find in my research any information on when it was abandoned. But the really cool thing, and the thing I love most about abandoned structures in Arkansas specifically, is it doesn't take long for it to be reclaimed by nature. So you can take a building that was once so beautiful, so populated, so grand, and then it was abandoned. But it doesn't take very long for it to get a new breath of life and a different kind of beauty, which is exactly what has happened with these ruins. You can go out there, you can walk around them, the book tells you exactly how to get out there. But the best time to go is going to be in the wintertime when everything's kind of dead, so you're not traipsing through lush greenery. Um, and a lot of people do not know that the CHEWAUKLA bottling factory is even out there, or they've only seen photos of it. It's definitely one of those things you got to make time to go see for yourself. It's really, really incredible. You kind of look through the trees, and it's a bit eerie, not going to lie, because it's like abandoned, but it's very neat to go out and look at and very beautiful. And finally, for the shopping and fashion section, I chose the Friends of the Library book sale. Now, the library is a gym in and of itself for Hot Springs, so I wanted to be able to incorporate it in the book when at all possible. Everyone knows we have a Garland County library, but they do so much, it's hard to keep up with it all. In the back of the library, you can find a book sale room full of books, magazines, DVDs, CDs, all for anywhere from a dime to a few dollars. So you can add to your collections for little to nothing. And all of the items are either donated or retired from the library circulation. So if this is something you haven't checked out, definitely recommend. We don't have a huge variety of bookstores here in Hot Springs. We have Books A Million, which is absolutely wonderful. Love it. But if you haven't checked out the Friends of the Library book sale, definitely next time you're out book shopping, go check it out. So that is that. That is just 5 out of 100 things to do in Hot Springs from my book. I hope you have either, listening to me, I hope you have learned something new that's in your community or rediscovered something that you forgot was in your home. Now you can put yourself to the test. I have these foldable checklist bookmarks that I'm giving out with some of the books. And you can include the date you start and the date you finish, and see how long it takes you to complete the entire checklist. How long does it take you to do all 100 of these things? It would be a minimum of a year because some of the events are annual, but how long after a year will it take you to do all 100 things? The really neat thing about challenging yourself to complete a list like this is you may realize you haven't been to some of these things in years. It's so easy to take for granted some things that are in your home. For example, you may say that you love a Bailey's burger. Every tourist you pass on the street who asks, "Where should we eat?" you say Bailey's every time. But maybe you haven't even been to Bailey's in a few years. Maybe you just haven't found yourself on Park Avenue. So you're getting to kind of re-experience that. Or maybe you love film, but every year when the Hot Springs Documentary Film Festival rolls around, you can't seem to find time to make time in your schedule to catch a few blocks at the film festival, which you totally should because the film festival is such a treasure in this community. Or maybe you love the bathhouses, but you just don't ever think to treat yourself to a thermal soak to celebrate something as mundane as a Thursday, which you should treat yourself. Tasking yourself to complete 100 of the best things in your hometown is a way to celebrate life at random, treat yourself, and in some cases, gain new experiences. So with that, you can purchase the book at thehotspringspost.com. It is currently available for pre-order. It releases May 15th. You can buy it for yourself, buy it for your friend, stock your Airbnbs. On thehotspringspost.com, my contact information is there. You can contact me directly about booking a speaking event just like this one. You can contact me about wholesaling. But most importantly, I am holding a launch party that you all are invited to May 17th. That is a Tuesday. It will be from 5 to 8 p.m. on the second floor of Spencer's Corner. And I hope to see you guys all there. It's a meet and greet, so you can come and check out the book or just say, hey, tell me what you love or hate about the stuff I write about. And yeah, I would really, really love if all of you guys could make it. And that is all, folks. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, Cassidy. Well. That was pretty spectacular. And I want to encourage the live audience, send in your questions, your comments, and your stories about Hot Springs to share with Cassidy here while we still have her. But this is my hometown, and it may not technically be yours, but you have so much energy and passion for this town, you really can't tell it's not.
I love to hear that.
You're an honorary hot spa resident.
Oh, good. I mean, I love this community so much.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff residents who have lived here their entire lives even haven't done in years or ever. So I think it'll be just as useful of a discovery tool for long-term residents as it will short-term visitors.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it seems like you learned a lot and had pleasant surprises and discoveries of places you weren't familiar with. So what are some other highlights?
Some highlights from the book. I would have to say probably the Parlor. The Parlor is a metaphysical shop located off of Washita. And that is one of my favorite places to go to in Hot Springs. It is just so cozy. It has such a great, welcoming environment. It's very like spooky, kind of like that eerie vibe. Yeah, the Parlor was one of my favorite things to cover in the book. Also, Tiny Town. I feel like Tiny Town is a staple here in Hot Springs. I'd never been to it. I went and toured Tiny Town for the book, and it was wonderful. The couple who owns it is so charming, and I just loved hearing the man who runs it explain all of the things around it. It started under their Christmas tree, I think like in the 50s, and it's just grown since then. It's this huge accumulation of what he calls junk art, but it's really beautiful. So yeah, I would have to say Tiny Town and the Parlor.
Let's see, you have a few comments here. Jock says, this book sounds so interesting and fun. I'm a local and would love to rediscover our town.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is the main point. A lot of people think this book is primarily for tourists, and it's not. Whenever I started writing this book, a lot of people my age were here, and they were like, "Is there even 100 things to do here?" Like just laughing and like acting like, "No, there's not." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I could do a second edition of this book."
Right.
So many things, and people don't realize that.
I was going to say, you probably realized intentionally trying to do something like this, it was hard to narrow it down to just 100 things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I've even thought like because I finished this book back in October or November. And no, I finished it December 1st. Sorry. I finished this book back December 1st. And ever since then, I've thought of probably 200 more things that I could have added.
Did you find it difficult to try and balance things that you were including that might be appealing to both residents and tourists? Or did you intentionally try and have everything something that would appeal to both, or some things might appeal to only one group?
I don't. Okay, so I think that as a journalist, I'm very passionate about just chronicling everything. So I think even things that are in my book that would appeal to tourists, like I said, those staples like Mid America Science Museum, Oaklawn Racing Casino Resort, things like that. I think it's very important to have documentation of those things were here, those things were very much alive in 2022 when this book was published. So I think it's something even whenever it's something a lot of people know about, like locals, and maybe do regularly, I think it's still very valuable to have it written in a book like that.
Mm-hmm. Would you say your journalism expertise was essential to being able to have this finished product that you're really happy with?
I think so, mainly because not being a local, I mean, I've only lived here 3 years. If it wasn't for being a journalist, I would not be as involved in the community as I am and be able to write this book. So I think 100%. Yeah.
And what month did you say you started?
I started in June of last year. So from June to December 1st.
Okay. So you missed having to work on it in 2020 when everyone was still figuring out COVID, but did the pandemic kind of adjust your workflow at all? Because we had some peaks last year in 2021 for sure.
Affect my workflow with this book?
Yeah, as far as being able to access some of these places behind the scenes to
Oh,
work on writing about them.
Not really, because even though even though I technically started in June of 2021, I would say I didn't really hit it heavy until August, or September. August or September. So that was even further away from the pandemic. So no, I didn't really see any effects of the pandemic, thankfully.
Mm-hmm. So what was the process like when you were approaching maybe small businesses that normally don't get a lot of spotlight, explaining to them they were going to be part of this?
So a lot of people thought I was trying to sell them something.
Right.
So that I mean, I had a few
No,
people
no,
who
you're trying to get them money by
I know,
extra publicity.
yeah. I was like, well, these days, like nobody is just out there doing something nice for the heck of it. But yeah, no, I had a few places that I really wanted in there that just simply didn't want to. I guess I couldn't explain it well enough about it being a book. But I'm sorry, I forgot the question.
Oh, just when you were approaching places, especially small businesses, what was it like?
Yeah. So yeah, I had a few people who thought I was trying to sell them something,
Mhm.
and it was just a no-go, unfortunately. But other people, they were very, very gracious to really show me how their business works. Like Tiny Town, for example, they didn't charge me. Like they just let me go experience that for the book, and they were more than happy to show me around because it's sharing a piece of them for the
Mhm.
book. And I think that made it a lot more personal.
It's be interesting to see if someone had written a similar book, like during a different era of hot springs, how many things from 40, 50 years ago would still be in your edition?
I would absolutely love to see that. I don't know if that exists out there, but if it doesn't, I'm glad that there's one for 2022 to exist now. That would be really, really cool, though, if there was one from the 40s or 50s.
Did you cite or use any references from like old visitors guides or any kind of tourism thing, or go to the historical
Mm,
society?
I don't think so, but the Historical Society is in the book. I should throw that out there as another little taste of what's in the book. Visiting the Historical Society is one of the entries. But no, I don't think, because I had limited word space that I could use for each
Uh,
entry.
mhm,
The publishing company, since it's a series, they basically have like a template that you have to
mhm.
follow. So I think I had, oh gosh, I would have to go back and look. Maybe 150 word limit, maybe 100 word limit. I don't want to be wrong, but yeah, no. So I didn't have, which is probably good because if I had time to research and dive it would have taken 10 years to write for 100 things. But
Yeah, I was looking at Reedy Press's website, and if this is up to date, it looks like there's 124 guides. So it's pretty cool that we're, one of those because, I mean, think of how many tens of thousands of cities there are in America.
Yes, like they threw us up there with like St. Louis and what is that Bend in Oregon Bend? I don't know. All these large, large cities. Yeah, and I think it is a true testament to how much Hot Springs is growing and how much like tourism attention we are getting.
So what were some of the expectations from Reedy? Like
Uh,
other than, word count and having to follow the template,
yeah,
were
maintaining deadline. No, Reedy, I don't I don't really know how to answer that. I mean, I will say that they were a great publishing company to work with. This is my first book to ever publish, and I mean, they were just so nice and so helpful. One of the expectations that is a little difficult is the marketing. We have all these guidelines where we have to follow for marketing, and that's great. Like I want them. I mean, it's really a good thing because they are helping me market my book and promote my book. But I'm a writer. I'm not a marketing like expert. I'm not a salesperson. So that is probably an expectation that I am having a little bit of difficulty with.
Got a comment from Kirsty, says, I love the bookmark. Do you want to go back to that tab? I'll put it on the screen again.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
There's the bookmark. I wasn't sure how many people would be interested, so I'm kind of just giving them out upon request. But yeah, I thought it was a fun little thing to add.
Hey, we can give them out here at the library. Of course, people are always asking us for bookmarks, so.
Oh my goodness, that would be incredible. I was actually printing them out at Office Depot, and the guy there asked me if I was with the library. I was like, no. Paul, my screen is frozen. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Oh, okay, cool.
You can still hear me, I guess.
Yeah.
Someone asked, how do you get the bookmark?
You can just request it. So if you come to one of my events, like the launch party or any speaking event where I have them with me, I will definitely have them with me if you want it. Or if you order it from the website, there's a notes section, and you can just include it in the notes.
Or maybe pick some up at the library.
Or pick some up at the library. Yes, I love it.
Susan says, hi, Cassidy. What was the most surprising thing you discovered in your search?
I wish I had the book in front of me so I could flip through it to answer that. The most surprising thing. Like mentally going through the book.
Yeah, you only have to think of 100 things.
I know. Luckily, it's in categories.
When you were visiting these, did you visit every single one of these places?
No, some of them I had already been to.
Mm-hmm.
The most surprising thing. This is a stumper. The thing that's in my head is how delicious a Bailey's burger is because I'd never had Bailey's before I had this book. Before I was writing this book. I know there's one. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Probably you probably got to see, before we went live, I was showing you one of those programs I'd done at Will's Cinnamon Shop, and got to do the hands-on behind the scenes and see them make the cinnamon rolls. Did you get to do anything like that? Like see how things work behind the scenes from maybe the public doesn't get to see how in-depth some of these establishments are?
No, I didn't. A lot of things I did over the phone. So yeah, I didn't get to really do anything super cool. I would have loved to have like done the zip line at Ron Coleman's or something, but no, I didn't really do anything behind the scenes like that.
So when Reedy, other than having to, of course, include the staples like the bathhouses and the mountain tower, did you pretty much have full authority to curate the list?
Yes. One thing on the shopping and fashion, I didn't want to include fashion, but I kind of had to. So I like slipped in some like shopping boutiques in there. There was one section where I just lumped in all the boutiques. But yeah, other than that, I had full authority of what I could put in there. They wanted to. Their one request was to make it family friendly, which I did for the most part.
Yeah, we have a bit of a notorious background here in Hot Springs, so.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we do. Well, I was actually thinking, well, yeah, well, I put the Foul Play Cabaret, which is our local burlesque troupe, as in one of them because those women work so hard and they're so beautiful. So I put seeing a foul play show in one of them.
Cody says, I think your book would make a great resource for historians as well as tourists. Good work.
Ooh, thank you so much, Cody. I hope so.
So, did you consult or seek advice from anyone on when you were working down your list of 100? Like, who were your main resources?
Yes, thank you for asking this question. I hadn't even thought of this. So when in the middle of writing the book, I was, like I said, I started full-time freelance in June. I started this book in June. I had a lot of different plates spinning for me, and I was getting very bogged down and just anxiety ridden, and I hadn't started on the book yet. And I mean, I'd started on it a little bit, but I hadn't hit it hard like I knew I should have. And I went and I went and covered for the Hot Springs Post Kat Robinson at the Hot Springs National Park Rotary Club. And she has all these different kinds of books about food in Arkansas. And she has a 101 things to do, or a 101 things to eat in Arkansas,
yeah.
I think. Yeah, and then like a 102 things. But just hearing Kat talk, like how inspired she was and just her energy and her love for her books and her work and the topics she covered, it was honestly just like a huge kick in the butt. Like, she totally inspired me. I talked to her after and I was like, girl, like, you have just given me so much hope in this. And my sister was with me and she bought me two of the 100 books, and I have those and I will keep those forever because Kat Robinson was a huge inspiration to me.
Yeah, she's great, and I would go grab those books. They're the cooking section's somewhere behind me, but they're probably checked out because they're so popular, and also it's dark, and I don't want to walk over there in the dark.
Kat's incredible. For anyone who if you get to the library, check out her book or check her out online. Like, she has a documentary coming out, I think, about like some dairy bars.
Yeah, dairy bars. Yeah,
she's cool.
So I think I already know the answer to this one. It sounds like, but you said they required everything to be in those 5 categories. So is the most challenging one the shopping and fashion?
Sports. Yeah, shopping and fashion. Well, I don't know, because we have like a lot of niche places that were fun to include. Maybe sports and rec. I don't know. I mean, there's just so much to do in Hot Springs. None of them were just super difficult.
Right.
But shopping and fashion, I think, is the smallest. So maybe it was shopping and fashion.
Which one was the biggest blind spot for you that you didn't know much about going into?
Sports and recreation.
Because there's Oaklawn and hiking, but I mean, and there's a lot going on. But yeah, if you're not into.
Yeah, we are such an outdoorsy place, but I mean, I don't do any, like, I don't bike, I don't hike really. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
see how pale I am. Yeah, I don't go outside much either.
I mean, Paul, I can't see how pale you are because I can't see anything on my
screen.
Yeah,
your screen's frozen.
But what was I gonna say? Oh shoot, I lost it.
Did you include the Greenway on there?
Yes, I did include the Greenway. Absolutely. I love the Greenway so much. I don't remember if it was a complete entry, but the Greenway is definitely mentioned in one of the entries.
Let's see. I want to put out another call. If you have any stories or comments or questions before we end, please get those in. Did you include? I've noticed something that has been blowing up in the community, especially in Hot Springs Village, pickleball. Did you include that in the sports section?
No, I didn't include pickleball, but it is exploding. Maybe in the second edition.
Let's see here. So those 5 required topics, which one was the easiest or most obvious for you that you were just having so many things come into mind, you had to narrow it down?
Probably food. I'm a little worried whenever the book comes out. I'm going to have some people coming after me for things that weren't included because I just simply couldn't include all of our great restaurants. But yeah, probably food. And
Wow.
there's been a few food places that I've even had since writing the book, and I'm like, oh man, like I really, really wish I would have. But honestly, it was a packed
Mhm.
full list, and I don't think
Yeah,
I could
yeah.
take one out to put another one in.
Maybe Kat Robinson, or maybe you can do a top 100 places to eat in Hot
In
Springs.
Hot Springs,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
maybe I'll pass that idea along to Kat. She is the
Mhm.
absolute fantastic expert on the food.
It'll be interesting to see, once your book comes out and you get a response, maybe it'll bring attention and put a spotlight on Hot Springs, and it might even increase some of these industries. Make people see this as a place with a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope it's beneficial for the tourism industry, but like I say, I hope it's just as, if not more so, beneficial to the locals. I'm really, throughout the book, there's the trending theme of being community oriented. Because seriously, if it wasn't for the community working so hard to preserve Hot Springs history, to keep all of these just great, timeless, staple businesses around, we wouldn't be where we are as a tourism place, you know? So it's a huge gift, I like to think of, to the community.
Absolutely. I have a question from Terrence. Is there going to be a volume 2?
I hope so. That is all up to the publishing company, though. So hopefully, I don't know what it depends on, but hopefully they'll want to do a volume 2 with me. I would love to write another one for them.
Excellent. Well, let's pick a couple of the places on your list and talk about our personal experiences there. So you start with one. Pick one of your favorites.
I wish I had the list in front of me.
We have your bookmark.
Oh, we do have my bookmark. Okay, let's see here. Well, if I could zoom in. Uh-oh. All right.
I'm just gonna pick it random, wave my mouse around it, and open my eyes. Let's see. Oh, visit Bathhouse Row. Oh, there's an obvious one. I did that for the first time. Definitely as an adult. Yeah, just kind of had that's something I recommend to people that live here. Just treat yourself like a tourist one day and go downtown and with a
Yes.
new perspective and see things and yeah, to take a bath in the bathhouses. They are really enjoyable. And
Did you
then
do the pool at Quapaw?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the pool and then like one of the private baths and like it's so all the steam. It's really cool. And then the museum too,
Oh,
the Fordyce. Yeah, like taking time to actually read all the placards and all the information, and seeing all the outdated contraptions that they used to use.
in the gym.
hmm Yeah, the
Yeah.
gym, and then some of this personal hygiene ones, and that look like
Torture
torture
chamber.
devices.
Yeah, no, I love Bathhouse Row. I had never like really dove into it before this book. So for the book, I toured the museum for the first time. Absolutely incredible. Loved seeing what it used to look like. And then actually in April, this month is April. At the beginning of the month, me and my sister went to Quapaw into the bath for her birthday, and that was the first time I'd ever taken a bath or got in the waters. And that was just a great
First time you've ever taken a bath.
First time, yeah, secret's out. No, first time I had ever been in the waters. It was really cool.
Let's see. What's one of
Oh yeah, it's my
your
turn.
favorites on this?
So Will's Cinnamon Shop. As everybody knows, Will's is now Destiny's. I think I was like 3 days before the like final input of the book. Whenever I got that news, so I was able to go change it. I still have the title in there as Will's because it's have a Will's cinnamon roll, which you can get at Destiny's. Anyways, my memory from Will's is back whenever it was Will's, and back before the world shut down in 2020. I'd moved here at the very end of 2018, December 2018. So pretty much all of 2019. On Sunday mornings, me and my sister and brother-in-law and niece, when she was still a baby, she's like 4 years old and is like a teenager now. But we would go there every Sunday morning. That was kind of like our thing. And it was just a way that really like got me out into the community when I was still so new in a town. And obviously Will's Cinnamon Rolls are thebomb.com. So
absolutely,
that was wonderful.
Yeah, my memory there is like I said earlier, doing that behind the scenes when we did a video with them for the library. And if anyone's interested, you can go watch. It's like a 45-minute interview where we got all the footage from like 3 a.m. in the morning till open, then making the cinnamon roll and the whole process, and it's really cool. And then we had Will come in and talk about the whole process, and he commentated the video.
And oh, sorry, Paul. I was telling Paul right before we got on here, he was showing me that video, and I think that is just like he has this on video of the behind the scenes of Will's back whenever Will's was in Destiny's, and that's not there anymore. Like they got to chronicle something that is no longer there. They have a mark of history to share and show with everybody. And that's kind of like the idea of this whole book. One thing I was stressing a lot about while doing the list is like, well, what if something goes out of business and then it's gone? It doesn't matter because it's still chronicling what was in Hot Springs. What, like one of the things I have in there is the Hot Springy Dinghy. The Hot Springy Dinghy is thankfully still around, but they are in the process of selling their business. Hopefully it remains around, but if it doesn't, it's still there and it's still chronicling it. And that's like something super important that I want to stress with the book being in print forever.
Right. I mean, that'll be a memory that, just its presence, even if it's gone, thousands of people will have experienced, these small businesses in some way, even if they shut down. And it's really cool to have, pick even if it's just a couple pictures of a place.
Yeah.
And talking about what they did.
It's our folklore and our folk group of being Hot Springians.
Yeah. I bet the Garland County Historical Society is going to carry this book. Cody mentioned, a good resource for historians.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. All right, let's do just a couple more. I won't talk about visiting the local library. I've never done that before. Let me pick a food one too, because I love food, but this is difficult. I'm going to say have your pick at 420 Eats, because that's really like several restaurants in one. Cool food truck court over there if you've never been, and library staff here, it's a go-to for lunch because it's so close and we can call in, and they have like different, it's almost like a culinary tour of the world. They have the hibachi, or rock and roll hibachi, the Japanese food truck, and then there's a Thai food truck and an Indian, and Mama V's, which is like Southern cooking, and then there's this new taco food truck, which is really good. So like everyone can go and get their own thing, and it's really cool.
They always have good stuff coming in and out of there. And it's like such a fun place to be. They have like live music, they have games. It's a really cool place. And I will look for one more too. I feel like I'm getting like really close to my camera, but I'm trying to read this list here.
You are, but
maybe let's say the Pocket Theater. Catch a show at the Pocket Theater.
That's something I've never done.
Really? Oh my goodness. I love the Pocket Theater. It is just so I mean, you don't know if you've never been, you will not expect it to be back there. You're on Park, you go up Ravine Street, you're like going through like some woody area, and then you see this charming, adorable red theater house with warm lit lights, like letting you see it's the Pocket Theater. So cute. You go inside. This is community theater, all volunteer, people just giving their all for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I know this because I was in a pocket show back in December. So much fun, but it's just all volunteer. And then they pour their heart out on stage. And every show is so good. And they have a show every other month, I think.
Wow.
And so you can always, go out there, go see some talent in your local community, go try something new. I had never been in a play before December, and I was only kind of in it, but it was still just so fun to like just go see the talent that's held in your community. And it's like going to the movies, but almost better. But not to diss the movies, because I do love the movie theater.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely going to try that out, and that's a really frequent schedule every other month. And I know I've been encouraged to try out for some of the shows. So,
I hope you
but I
do.
don't do musicals. Like I can't sing and I can't dance. So if there's a drama or any genre without singing and dancing, I'm willing to do that. But
Listen, I can't sing at all, and I was a caroler in the Christmas one. But they told me, they were like, just act like you're a caroler that has had too much eggnog, and I'm like, okay. I mean, that's what it's really gonna sound like. 'Cause
they'd have to actually give me the eggnog for me to be like.
yes. Who's providing the eggnog?
But it sounds like a great time even just to go and watch the shows.
Yeah, pocket shows are so much fun. If no one has ever been to a pocket show, go to the next pocket show. I think it's Little Women next month.
Cool.
Or the month after next.
Well, we could probably go through the entire list of 100 things, and that would actually be fun. But we won't make people sit here through that, although they might enjoy it. I don't know. I'd enjoy talking about it. But I appreciate your time and all the effort you've put into working on this book. So give everyone a reminder of when it's coming out and where they can get it.
Yes, so it is coming out May 15th. You can get it at thehotspringspost.com/shop, or if you just go to thehotspringspost.com and click on 100 things. Or if you come to one of my speaking events, I'll have it for sale there. And don't forget about the launch party, May 17th, second floor, Spencer's Corner, from 5 to 8 p.m.
Excellent. And let everyone know, sell yourself. What is the Hot Springs Post?
Oh, the Hot Springs Post. That is my online media outlet. It is completely free for the community. I try to cover all of the really important news. It's a one-man band over here, so I can't get all of it, unfortunately, but the really important stuff, but also the really fun stuff. So I like to do features on super cool locals, awesome businesses, really highlight our awesome community, but also provide some very much needed news.
Excellent. Amy in the comments says, "Great job, Cassidy."
Thanks, Amy.
Absolutely. I agree. And since you cover all these incredible locals in the community, I'm glad we had a chance to do this for you because you're an incredible local in the community.
Thank you so much. This is a lot of fun.
I'm glad. So congratulations on your upcoming book, May 15th, 100 Things to Do in Hot Springs Before You Die. Check it out. And thank you everyone for watching. This video is recorded, so you can share this. It's on the library's Facebook and YouTube channels. So thanks for watching. Take care.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye, Cassidy.